Every time I go through security checks, I have to strip down completely. Even when I'm naked, the detection machine still beeps incessantly. It's because I am Captain Tianqiong, the most mysterious warrior of Huaxia, who has been on the battlefield for 8 years, achieving numerous victories. However, during a counterterrorism operation, I was shot by a hidden gun, and the bullet got lodged in my spine, making it impossible to remove. Helplessly, I had to retire and return home. Just as I arrived at the customs, preparing to go through security, suddenly the alarm blared, and the duty officer immediately detained me. The beautiful security officer approached with a scanning device and scanned me once again. When the detector reached my lower back, it suddenly emitted a sharp screech, accompanied by flashing red lights. The security officer ordered me to remove my clothes, and I reluctantly complied, exposing myself to the curious onlookers. My body, covered in dark sinewy flesh, revealed numerous scars, which astonished the crowd. The security officer closest to me, in particular, turned pale in shock and took a step back. The duty officer frowned and cold sweat formed on his forehead. As former soldiers, they recognized the elliptical scars resembling eyes on my body as bullet wounds. The beautiful security officer brought an infrared scanner and approached me once again, her breath becoming rapid and her hands trembling. Then, suddenly, she exclaimed in surprise. There was a bullet embedded in her spine. Silence fell upon the scene, and everyone looked at me with astonishment. Quiet murmurs filled the air, speculating that if the bullet had deviated slightly, I would have been paralyzed. What has this person experienced? Could they be a terrorist? Despite the questioning voices, I remained calm and looked at the startled security officer. I asked, "Miss, can I go now?" The officer reported to the duty officer, saying, "Apart from the bullet lodged in the spine, no other prohibited items or dangers were found. We can release him." Under the shocked gaze of the crowd, I calmly picked up my belongings and boarded the plane. Several hours later, the plane landed smoothly, and I eagerly hailed a taxi to go home. Although my parents had passed away long ago, my beloved sister still lived there. Thinking about this, I urged the taxi driver to speed up, and soon we arrived at the doorstep of my home. I took out the long-unused key, imagining the scene of embracing my sister in my mind. However, the moment the door opened, I froze. There stood a naked woman near the bathroom entrance, with a curvaceous figure and fair skin, her wet hair indicating that she had just taken a shower. As a bachelor who hadn't seen a woman's body in a decade, I was completely stunned. The startled woman turned her head upon hearing the commotion. Her beautiful round eyes widened, and her lips slightly parted. It was evident that she was also shocked and stood there motionless. After a few seconds, the woman let out a piercing scream and quickly turned around, rushing into the bedroom. Startled by the scream, I regained my senses and hastily closed the door. Retreating outside, I had never seen a woman's body before, so I couldn't help but feel my face flush and a wave of heat rush through my body. Despite not seeing my sister for nearly 10 years, I was certain that the woman inside was definitely not her. Who would be taking a shower in my house if it wasn't my sister? Did someone sell the house and forget to mention it to me? Inside the house, Li Xiaoman, still in a state of shock, blushed and quickly put on her clothes. Then she stormed into the kitchen and grabbed a kitchen knife. She opened the door and, upon seeing me, who was smoking a cigarette, she didn't hesitate and raised the knife to strike. Seeing her swift action, I immediately grabbed the knife, preventing her from attacking me. Li Xiaoman, unable to move, cursed loudly, "You damn pervert. If you have the guts, let me go. I'll fight you." I quickly explained to her, "I don't know how you ended up in my house, but it was a misunderstanding earlier. I didn't expect someone to be inside, but I apologize to you." Li Xiaoman, listening with a startled expression, exclaimed, "You say this is your house? So, you're Xiao Xieyang?" I was somewhat surprised. How could this unfamiliar beauty know my name? So I asked, "Do you know me?" Li Xiaoman shrugged and said, "I don't know you, but I know your sister, Xiao Shiqing, in her homeroom teacher." Hearing that, I quickly let go of her hand, feeling ashamed, and apologized. Li Xiaoman turned around with a frown, rubbing her wrist. Then, she suddenly raised her hand and slapped me across the face. The force of the slap caught me off guard, and I stumbled backward, gripping my stained cheek. Li Xiaoman glared at me,